Behind the appearances of the universe, there is a reality of a being and consciousness. A self of all things, one and eternal. All beings are united in that one self and spirit, but divided by a certain separativity of consciousness, an ignorance of their true self and reality. It is possible, by a certain psychological discipline, to remove this veil of separative consciousness and become aware of the true self, the divinity within us and all. This one being and consciousness is involved here in matter. Evolution is the method by which it liberates itself. Consciousness appears in what seems to be unconscious. And once having appeared, is self-impelled to grow higher and higher, and at the same time to enlarge and develop towards a greater and greater perfection. Life is the first step of this release of consciousness. Mind is the second. But the evolution does not finish with the mind. It awaits a release into something greater, a consciousness which is spiritual and supramental. The next step of the evolution must be towards the development of supermind and spirit as the dominant power in the conscious being. For only then will the involved divinity in things release itself entirely, and it become possible for life to manifest perfection. Humans live mostly in their surface mind, life and body. But there is an inner being within them, with greater possibilities, an inner light and force, to which they have to awake, and that pushes them to a constant pursuit of a greater beauty, harmony, power, and knowledge. We discover our true soul, which is not this outer mixture of mental, vital, and physical elements, but something of the reality behind them, a spark from the one divine fire. We have to learn to live in our soul and purify and orientate by its drive towards the truth. There can follow afterwards an opening upward and descent of a higher principle of the being. It is not, however, by the mental will that this can be wholly done, for the mind goes only to a certain point, and after that can only move in a circle. A conversion has to be made, a turning of the consciousness by which the mind has to change into the higher principle, which will not merely release the spiritual self out of the world, but release it in the world. The process of this self-discipline or sadhana is therefore long and difficult. But even a little of it is so much gained because it makes the ultimate release and perfection more possible. The whole being has to be trained so that it can respond and be transformed for that greater light and force to work in the nature. Turning the will away from motives of self-interest to the truth and the service of a greater reality than the ego. The one aim of this yoga is an inner self-development by which each one who follows it can in time discover the one self in all and evolve a higher consciousness than the mental. A spiritual and supramental consciousness which will transform and divinize human nature.